And then I'm going to go. All right.
Look.
Are we chugging water before the show?
Yeah.
All right. Pacific Coast, Pacific Sports, West Coast, Talk Radio. What's going on? It's Brady and Dean.
Wrong pipe. Yeah, long time no see, people. Sorry, we've been gone for a while.
Coming at you guys with some NFL talk, some quarterbacks. Got a lot to talk about. Got a lot of material there. You want to start with the
NFL? A lot of quarterback stuff going on. A lot of news in the NFC West actually. So we're gonna. I believe last time we left off with the Russ stuff. So
yes.
You want to jump back in with the Russ stuff again?
We can go with the Russ stuff. I mean, we don't have a ton to talk about aside from the fact that it's just gotten even deeper into hot take discussion.
Yeah, we won't go like it is hot take, but it is interesting that his agent. Did you see his agent posted the teams? That was like a.
That was a burn.
A couple, or was it a couple weeks ago? Was it a week ago or a couple days ago? The agent posted. So if he was involved in a trade, it would be to the Raiders. They prefer the Raiders, the Cowboys, the Saints, and what was the fourth team? Remember?
I didn't see the list, but I was gonna bounce off
four
of
teams.
Those. I was gonna bounce off those four.
It was the fourth. I can't think of it right now.
I looked up Russ,
but it was
Russ Wilson.
Yeah, it was
approved trade destinations. So it's and the Bears are in there as well.
Oh, the Bears. Yeah, I thought the Bears is interesting to me. That's why I forgot about the Bears.
I mean, any of those four teams. If he goes on to any of those four teams, regardless of how many sacks he's taken and how many they've been his fault or not. Any of those four teams, they're going to become definitely playoffs, potential Super Bowl contenders, in my opinion. Because a lot of those teams just need a quarterback, right?
Yeah. I mean, man, what's with Drew Brees not retiring yet? Have you seen he hasn't retired yet? And he posted that video of him pushing weights with his trainer, and it's like, bro.
I think he's I think it's so when we're playing Beard Eye and stuff like that, and you got to get off the table, you got to call it a day. It's time for you to call it. It's nighttime.
You're a little too lost in the sauce.
Dude, he's lost in the sauce, man. He doesn't want to give it up.
The thing about Drew Brees is his arm is dead, and I'm not trying to. I mean that sounds harsh. Okay, that sounds harsh, but he just looked terrible.
He had to put forth a lot of effort, including literally having a metal brace on his back because he broke his ribs.
He broke in the teens of ribs.
He played with the bulletproof vest, my guy.
That is fair. That is okay. That's a fair point. I mean, that was rough. He broke in the teens of ribs. Just the majority of his rib cage was broken. I know that. He had more broken ribs than non-broken. Yeah. But, I mean, the last couple of years, his accuracy, which is, that's what Drew Brees is known for, has gone down the toilet, kind of. I don't know his numbers exactly, but I feel every year he's gone down, 3 or 4% in his percentage, completion percentage. And it's, he's not even throwing it deep, So if his accuracy's going downhill and he's still not pushing the ball down the field because all Michael Thomas does is run under routes, right? Michael Thomas isn't a deep route, receiver.
So the interesting thing about his completion percentage is from 2017 to 2019, So that was not this last season, but 3 seasons before that. He went 3 years back to back to back, 72%, 74.4%, 74.3%. Those are the best.
Crazy.
Those are the best completion percentages he's ever had.
So
he was playing
and he played the whole season, right? Like those were full seasons.
Those are full seasons, and mostly actually he missed some games in 2019. But and his record's great. So he can win games. I just think that
his team's stacked though.
Yeah, his team is stacked. Winning. It's kind of like, but he did set his best completion percentages. So it's like when you argue oh well, he's not hitting his passes. Well, he's still throwing it in the 70s, which is pretty solid. It's just he doesn't attempt anything
average
far.
Rate of deep ball. Yeah,
he doesn't attempt it far.
That's what I would like to know. It's very but it's gone down to the crazy level. He's never been a deep ball thrower.
Well, so last year he was 70%, which is that's still decent, right? But yeah, you're right. His deep percentage, we don't know that. I could probably find it.
I mean, his area. All you have to do is look up his air yards. I bet he's bottom of the league in air yards. That's what I was giving Derek, Carr so much crap for. After not his MVP season. Well, he was going to win the MVP that year if he didn't get hurt. Was that 2015? But the couple years after that, when it looked like he didn't trust, his body yet, he was 25th in the league in air yards. So that means he's not pushing the ball down the field. And the last couple years he's gotten better, but it really reminds me of post-injury Derek Carr, how far he's thrown the ball down the field. I think it's such weak stuff. In the playoffs, he was pushing it down the field. But you remember there were a couple games. One game this last year, he didn't have an attempt that was longer than 14 yards. He went an entire game without throwing a ball that was longer than 14 yards. And what quarterback does that?
And for the majority of those seasons that we looked at where his completion percentage was so high, it's easy to get away with that when you have arguably the best receiving running back in the league who can catch all those screen passes and those short routes. And then you got Michael Thomas, who's literally the king of the slant, is what they call him. All he does is run slants.
Yeah.
So it's just you got two guys
under 10 yards. Yeah.
You got two guys that are literally masters at that craft.
And then you know what else? It's also misleading because when freaking what's his name? I'm tired right now. They're running back.
Kamara.
When they throw a little 5-yard pass and he goes for 40 yards, that's a 40-yard completion for Drew Brees. It inflates his passing yards too.
You do got to hand it to him though. His ability to recognize the blitz is the reason why he's been able to stay in the league for as long as he did, similar to how Tom and Peyton Manning.
Well, yeah. Well, his entire career, that's why. Because he's so short, he had to do that. If he didn't have that skill, he'd be screwed.
So reading the defense...
He's not a tall... Yeah.
Reading the defense... But essentially, they brought Jameis Winston in, and towards the playoffs, we noticed they would literally put Taysom Hill, Jason Winston in to throw the deep pass. So if you're a defense and those guys are in, it's all right, they're either going to they're just going to run it, do a QB sneak.
They're telling you,
or they're just going to fucking bomb it.
No, that's a really good point. Yeah, they totally. It's like when you put in another running back in a jet sweep formation. It's what are they going to do here? You're tipping off the defense. Yeah, no, that's a very good point.
You're bleeding. Your cards are bleeding, buddy. And I think I know what you're going to do here.
No, that's a good point. That's a really good point. But
let's get back on topic.
Yeah. So Russ, right?
Yeah. Which team? All right. Why don't we go with this? What team do you think is most likely, or what team do you think he'll be most successful on? We can do two. Of those four teams, obviously.
Yeah, of course. I don't like Matt Nagy. I think the Bears is just the Bears is just a storied franchise. I think that's so whack. I know Matt Nagy's an offensive coach, but I hate the Bears. That'd be a terrible, terrible prop. Even though, like, he has Allen Robinson, but, like, there's not much else going on there. Like, the Saints, I mean, the Saints are, like, an obvious choice, but, like, I feel like the Saints would have to give up a lot of stuff, and they've traded some of their draft picks.
They really don't have a lot of cap space either.
They would have to give up. It's like the problem with the Niners going after John Watson, right? They'd have to give up players. So the Saints would have to give up players. So it wouldn't be the same team. So I would take the Saints. I think he would succeed the most, believe it or not, with the Raiders. I'd love him.
I'm on the same page, man.
I love that. Like
that would be my pick.
And Russ out there. Do you remember when Chucky? Going into the NFL draft, it was Chucky's camp that he used to do with the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You remember that in 2012? I literally remember it was like very surreal. Like I remember Chucky like talking to Russ. Like he's like, "Oh, you got a great ball." You could look it up on YouTube. It's like little Russ and Chucky like talking about his passing ability, and it's like, whoa, that'd be crazy.
Chucky's great.
And Ciara would love Vegas. I would love him on the Raiders. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I would honestly. I feel like the team that he would succeed the most on would. I mean, like on paper, you would argue it would be. What are the others? What was the?
The Cowboys have a lot of talent.
The Cowboys are the Saints, right? Because they have so much talent. But like
feel
situationally,
the Cowboys are so dysfunctional though.
Yeah. Situationally though, I totally agree. I was gonna say the Raiders as well. That would be the team I want to see him on, and the team that I feel like he'd be most successful. I just think it'd be cool to go from Seattle to the Raiders with that coach, and they have a pretty solid offense over there.
I think it is a little bit of bias because that's what I would like most see because I think the black hole and that freaking
it'd be badass.
Star Stadium, it'd be so badass. Yeah.
But any of those teams really, he could turn around and they would definitely turn
well, that's
around.
the thing. It would be big. If he got the Bears to the playoffs and the Cowboys to the playoffs, that would be a big freaking deal,
Well, look at that
Raiders,
Seahawks team. Like, what would that Seahawks team be without Russell Wilson?
They'd be 6-10. They'd be what the Niners did last year.
Well, the other question is who would their quarterback be?
Might be worse.
Who would their quarterback be?
Might be worse, actually. And they have so many holes. Their defensive line, their NFL Memes had a really funny post. It's like, the NFC West defensive line, and it shows Bosa, J.J. Watt, and it showed Aaron Donald, and then it showed Jamal Adams, because the Seahawks have no defensive line. Oh god, man.
The other thing is, think about let's talk about J.J. Watt. How do you
going to the Cardinals?
How do you feel about that move right there, rejoining his previous teammate in DeAndre Hopkins?
I think all of his talk on he wanted to be on a contender, nothing to take away from the Cardinals. The Cardinals are good, very good. But I think that crap of him saying, I want to be on a contender was just him blowing smoke. I think he went to the team that offered him the most money. I think he's overpaid, to be honest with you. What was it? It was 2 years, $46 million. Like, J.J. Watt has had, he's not the J.J. Watt of the early 2010s, Like, even though that J.J. Watt would go for, like, $30 million a year or something, like something crazy, But I don't know. I like J.J. Watt. He's definitely a very solid player, but with his back issues, it's like he might not even finish the season. I do think combining him with Chandler Jones is sick because Chandler Jones is a freaking beast. But I don't know. I think he went for the money, I don't. I think the Cardinals paid a lot for him. That's what I want to say. That's what I would say.
Yeah, it seems kind of like I don't know. And I think in the last 2 or 3 seasons, he's only had 8 sacks. Obviously, injury has been a big part of that. but it just seems kind of like you're paying a lot for a big name. You know what I mean? And we see that a lot in like all the sports. That happens. He's a great player, but you gotta look at it for like how much you're paying for him or the name. You know, it's like, oh, we got JJ Watt, and he's a beast, and he's on TV, and he's on all these different things, these commercials.
He brings confidence. He's like JJ Watt's like one of those few football players that are like bigger than football. You know, like I think he won the Walter Payton Award, right? Man of the Year, like giving back. Like he gave after the hurricane, he gave back millions and millions of dollars to the community. Like he's a great dude.
He's like almost like the Gronkowski on defense. He's like a Gronk on defense, like that kind of like.
I think persona. I think it's a different.
Like vibe. Persona wise,
like JJ Watts. JJ Watt's like. He's like, I don't see that because Gronk is like this funny like. Like
I'm not. All right, maybe not persona.
Watt's like,
but they have the ability to market themselves outside of football is what I meant. Not
that's fair,
not
and they're
persona.
both. And you're just saying it's because they're both big white guys. Like, let's be honest here. Like that's what you're going for right now.
A little bit. Like, I'm being a little.
Yeah.
But I mostly meant
these jacked white dudes.
Yeah, but I mostly meant it because they both like I've seen JJ Watt on like random TV shows. Like my girlfriend would be watching TV.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh shit! Like there's JJ Watt. Like literally like 2 weeks ago, like he just pulls up on this TV show. Obviously, when he was hella famous, like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
He was on New Girl. And he's been on like a bunch of TV shows, I'm sure.
I'm very sorry that you have to watch that. That's rough. That's rough.
I actually just kind of peeped in on it. There's a few moments. It has its moments.
It is true. They both are marketing. That's fair. Okay, if you're saying that, yeah. I do think that JJ Watt he's like more of an all business guy. You know, he comes in like I almost feel like. You know, he had that, like, Superman vibe. Like, even the Houston, like, the color scheme. Like, you come in, you know, like, with the briefcase, like, Superman, like, Clark Kent. Like, just get the all-American. You know, he's, like, Captain America back in the day, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's the vibe that he had.
100%.
But, anyways, I think he's overpaid. But it makes the Cardinals more dangerous. I think I really like their defensive line. They got some depth. I hope he stays healthy.
Yeah, I do wish him the best, even though obviously we're rooting here for the Niners. We like to see the guy do well.
Yeah. So we could jump from that to more Niner talk.
You want to do some Niner talks?
Well, we got the Seahawks, we got the Cardinals, we could do the Niners. I mean, there's not much else to say about the Rams. You know, they haven't.
We've done a bunch of talking on the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams haven't. I mean, they're going to – oh, the one thing I'd like to add about the Rams is Cam Akers. This is for fantasy talk. Cam Akers is supposed to be a 3-down back this year. That's what what's his name? Their coach. What's
I could see him have a breakout season. I could see him have a breakout season for sure. I know who you're talking about. Is it Tom Sawyer or something like that?
No. It's freaking Sean McVay. Jesus.
Oh, McVay. Dude, I don't even know why I said Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, I know. That was wild. I was like, no, it's not that. Sean McVay, he tweeted that.
I think they look. Do they both have mustaches? Does this guy have a mustache, McVay?
No.
I don't know. Maybe they're just kind of bulky white guys. Oh no!
No, Sean McVay.
No, McVay. I'm
you're way off.
Getting him way mixed up there. All right.
Yeah.
No, I could see him being huge.
Akers,
I could see him being huge.
They drafted him in the second round. Like they should just give him the freaking. You know, it was so infuriating them not like going to him. Like he's got so much talent, and he was like in a freaking 3-down system with Darrell Henderson and who the hell's the other guy? The older dude. He's like 28 or something. I don't even know his name, but yeah, the 3-headed monster was too much. The Rams were at their best when they had one running back there. You know, like
dude. So
and it was Gurley, but
I think coming into the next NFL season, we could do some fantasy talk, and I think that wouldn't be the worst idea considering we're both in the same league, and um, we're the previous two winners. You know, if you want to look at some success,
flexing on our pod.
if you want to look at some success in this fucking league, right here, man. It's
I like Cam Akers. I would draft Cam Akers in the first round. I know that's a bold move.
if
but
you
I
can
would
get him in
probably
the
do
second, that'd be ideal, right?
that. If I was a late first round pick, I would draft him.
He could be the next
I would
Cook.
take Stafford at quarterback with a functional quarterback. Man, their running game's going to be nasty.
And you don't need
Yeah.
to look and say, oh well, the running backs never do good in Detroit. DeAndre Swift still put up good numbers with Stafford, so
It's running back play is very dependent on quarterback play. You know, it's Joe Mixon. Key example. We're getting a little off topic, but Joe Mixon, he immediately, he was a first or second round pick. He's been dealing with injuries, but he had some terrible years to start off his career because they were just loading the box. They had
Dalton.
no quarterback. But then Burrow came in.
don't take shots at the
Dalton
red
wasn't that
rifle,
bad.
man.
I mean,
Don't be talking down to the red
anyway,
rifle.
but when Burrow's first year, man, Joe Mixon,
Took off.
yeah, TCU.
I think Jonathan Taylor would be another
But
pick too.
Joe Mixon had a great year.
Jonathan Taylor would be a high pick too
Yeah,
for
we're
me.
not going to go into fantasy right now.
Well, that's what I was saying though. Is
I don't
next
know. I don't love Wentz.
next
I don't
year,
love Wentz. I'm not in love with Wentz, man.
I mean next year though, it'll be fun.
Wentz is a big question mark.
It would be fun for us to do some fantasy talk.
Yeah, we will. This is a little off topic. We will, for sure.
Hopefully the members.
A few months away.
Hopefully the members of the league don't listen in, giving out good advice.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Giving out free advice.
We might have to make some,
let's go back to the Niners. So,
We might have to make some moves like swam one way or the other.
no, we can't lie to the people.
We gotta be honest,
Whatever.
man. It gotta come from the heart.
We gotta reel it back in here.
Niners.
All right, Niners. Okay, so did you hear about the Bridgewater news?
If they're going after Bridgewater, I might just have to go out there and jump off my balcony. Is that what the news is?
Go behind the shed. Go behind the shed with the shotgun. Just.
Is that the news? They're going to go after Bridgewater?
That's a little too serious.
The ultimate back.
We don't condone.
The ultimate backup.
The ultimate backup. No, well, they said that I think it was today, I believe. I don't know if it was Florio or somebody, but the Niners. It's not a big deal. The Niners had called about Teddy Bridgewater. The the Panthers are trying to get rid of his contract. He's going for $17 million this next year, which is way too much money for Teddy Bridgewater, right?
Maybe they're looking to get some draft picks.
Well, so you would think, like, when you hear the Teddy Bridgewater, I was listening to Haberman and Middlecoff. Shout out. They're great. Really great guys. They have a lot of great information on their podcast. But they made a great point, and everybody jumped to the conclusion that it would be switching Bridgewater for Jimmy straight up, right? That would be what would happen. But in reality, the only reason they would go after Bridgewater would be if they drafted a quarterback. Because Jimmy's not going to be on the roster if they draft a quarterback. Like Jimmy's been their starter and the team, is kind of behind him. They're not going to Jimmy's not an Alex Smith for Mahomes, right? They go up and draft Trey Lance, the North Dakota State guy who's a very raw, but he's a beast, like athletically and stuff. Or they get Fields. Those are the two guys because the other two guys is going to go too high.
You think there's a chance the Jaguars with the Ohio State quarterback or coach go after Fields to reunite the two, or no? There's no chance they're going to take Lawrence?
No chance. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence is like, he's like one he's like one player in like 15 years, like his talent level. Like it's like we haven't seen a quarterback this talented come out since Andrew Luck. Like it's these quarterbacks like him don't come around that often. You know, like no, it's Trevor Lawrence, and it's Trevor Lawrence by a mile. And you know there was talk like, oh, Fields is not close. None of them
No, I
close.
agree with you there.
But the BYU guy is supposed to go second, but he might go to the Falcons or something. But they would bring in Teddy Bridgewater if they drafted a quarterback because Jimmy would not be on the team.
Why would they prefer to have Teddy Bridgewater over Jimmy? Is it because he's cheaper or he's a better?
Well, it's two things. He is cheaper, and he's a kind of a succession plan, right? It would be easier to just bring in Teddy because Teddy knows the deal. Like he's not a quarterback who's going to be like starting for a long period of time. Like really, he should be a backup, right? He's like the best backup out there. He's not really a starter, right? Like, I don't consider Teddy Bridgewater a full-time starter, even though he was this last year. His talent level is not at the level of a starting, like the best 32 quarterbacks. I don't believe that, especially with these four guys coming in out of college. But I think if you had Teddy Bridgewater, he could be like the Alex Smith. You know, Mahomes had Alex Smith. Like Jimmy is too much money. It's $25 million. You're not going to have Jimmy on the roster with a $25 million contract, and then you draft a top 10 because they probably move up to get a quarterback.
So do you think Jimmy Garoppolo's gone for good? Do you think there's no chance that he's going to play in the Niner uniform?
I think there's a chance, but if they draft a quarterback, you know, I think he's gone. Like, there's no way. There's no way he's going to be on the team with a $25 million contract.
Well, what do they do with the first-round pick if they keep Jimmy G?
Oh, I don't know. I'm really, as a fan, I really want them to draft a quarterback. One of those four guys. I want them to trade up. So they would trade up with the Eagles or the Lions, probably. That's what Kuiper was saying. Where it's 6 and 7, to get one of those four guys, and they'd have to give up their first and a second and maybe a second next year. I would do it in a heartbeat. They need Jimmy can't stay healthy. He's costing them too much money. It's like they can't even have a really good backup because Jimmy's. It's like I was listening to Haberman Middlecoff too. They were saying, you know what it's like having Jimmy? Like to have Jimmy because of his injury problems, you have to have like a Marcus Mariota or like a good backup. You know, you can't have our backups that we had, Niners backups that they had this last year, right? The shitty, you know, freaking the guy that was who were those guys? The guy that played with
Mullins and
the guy
Beathard.
that played with Kittle.
Mullins and Beathard.
Beathard and Mullins are terrible. They're not good. They're third stringers. They're not backups. So you'd have to have like a $6 or $7 million backup because Jimmy doesn't stay healthy. So that's like a Marcus Mariota. So essentially, you're paying for a $31, $32 million quarterback, you know, because you have to combine them for Jimmy.
And you're not getting that
Jimmy
level. You're not getting anywhere close to that level of production.
You're not getting. No, exactly. So it's like, so the Niners, like, I would draft a quarterback and cut. He costs too much money and he doesn't stay healthy. It's like,
it's pretty simple.
I don't see. He's lost ever since he tore his ACL. He's lost something. Like it's confidence, or I don't know what it is. He's still a confident guy, or on the surface, but when you see him throw, we've gone over it at like nausea, like over and over. But he just doesn't. His mechanics. He throws off his back foot. He doesn't like go in and rifle it in there like he did those 5 games, you know, that he helped them win when he first came in. So yeah, they should draft a QB. But
so where do you rank the NFC West teams right now?
I mean, if we're saying Jimmy's going to be healthy all year, I mean, is that Is that what we're saying?
So there's a lot of hypotheticals, right? We don't know if Russ is going to leave.
There's a ton of hypotheticals.
Why don't we play it off?
Russ is going to stay.
You don't think
Russ is going to stay? I don't think that's going to happen.
All right, why don't we do most likely?
They're not going to.
Let's do most likely.
Most likely.
So Russ stays.
I would.
And let's say the Niners. Likely? Let's say the Niners get a quarterback, but they keep Jimmy G.
Okay, that's fair. I think if they draft one of those QBs, Jimmy's gone. But it's a big toss up because the one other factor. I don't want to keep going over this, but Deshaun Watson's domino. Even if he doesn't go to the Niners, if he goes to the Jets, I think Sam Darnold is a big possibility. Us trading.
There's a lot of reactionary.
We're Niners fans, but
there's a lot of reaction movement that could potentially happen. Like, if the Niners are in an interesting spot because of that, right? But let's just say, just for sake of discussion, the Jimmy G is on the Niners, and they're gonna move him soon. But right now they have him, and then they got a backup quarterback, or they have a first round pick and a quarterback.
One of those four guys.
Yeah, I don't know which one.
Dudes.
That's.
It would be Fields or it would be Trey Lance.
But then how do you rank the teams?
Okay, so I would do the Rams, Niners, Cardinals, Seahawks.
Okay.
That's what I would do. What would you do?
I definitely have Seahawks last, and I would have Rams first. I might flip-flop with the Cardinals and the Niners.
That's fair.
But I think it's going to be close.
We can agree. Yeah. I think the Seahawks are going to be dead last.
Yeah, I don't have much faith with what's going on in the front office, and it seems kind of chaotic.
It seems toxic.
Yeah.
And they gave up. Man, they gave up the first rounders for Jamal, right?
They gave up 3, man. They have no way to patch their wounds right now. They gotta lick them.
It's that's the problem with the Russ situation because they want to repair the offensive line, but they have no first round picks. It's
I think Russell Wilson realizes okay, maybe Jamal Adams wasn't the right move. That kind of put us in a spot, and he's like, fuck, this team can only do so much, and I have to play it he literally has to play it like Tom Brady 07, Patrick Mahomes MVP, caliber of play, that we saw him in the first half of the season. He has to play like that, or else they're dead last.
I think Pete Carroll has too much power. That's what I've been reading about a lot. The Seahawks don't have they have an ownership group, right? They don't have a true owner to keep Pete Carroll in check. And Pete Carroll is the problem why Russ wants to go. Because Pete Carroll just doesn't listen to anyone, right? Pete Carroll listens to himself. That's the one problem with the Russ situation.
Yeah, Pete Carroll, I give him credit. I give him credit for those Super Bowls that they won, or the Super Bowl, sorry. Oh, they lost one. I give him credit for the Super Bowl that they won, but it just seems like they haven't really been able to do much, and his ego is it's just so humongous, but it's dude, you guys haven't really done anything, It's crazy how the guy has such a big ego after winning one Super Bowl,
I mean, you know what really, you're on to something there. You know what really puts it into, when I thought it was savage, but him ripping off his shirt when they drafted DK Metcalf, because DK Metcalf is shredded.
Yeah.
He ripped off his shirt when they drafted him, and he went like this, and it's dude, you gotta chill out, man. Pete is he's a savage, and he it's his way or the highway, and it's very, I don't know. Yeah, it's something's gonna give. It's gonna be Pete Carroll or Russ. But anyways, we're off topic. I'm going too far down that road. I don't think it's gonna happen this year. I think next year something's gonna give, but not this year.
All right, so
we both have the Rams first, the Seahawks last. I have the Niners second. You have the Cardinals second, and then the thirds are flipped. So I think that's good. Yeah, so we went through all four of them. Anything else on football? Or
I mean, right now it's just kind of like a wait and see situation, right, with the draft, and then Deshaun and Darnold, like you said, where does he go? Where does that affect? A lot of different movement.
and then there's Dak. Like the Russ. You know what else? Russ kind of screwed over Dak. Took away some of Dak's pull, right? Because he's like, oh, if Russ wants to come here, right? Like I don't like. Old Jerry's licking his chops at that. He's like, "Oh, I don't have to pay Dak," I thought that was funny. Russ kind of screwed over Dak in that sense.
I think Dak can. Dude, I have full faith that Dak can come back and still produce wherever he goes. That guy's a
now
slinger.
But he wants top 5 quarterback pay now.
He's not going to get top 5, unfortunately.
He wants to get paid like $37 a year or something. It's like, bro, Dak, like you're good, but you're not a top 5 quarterback. Like you don't get paid like Deshaun. You don't get paid like them.
But can you blame the guy who was playing at a really high level and then he unfortunately gets that injury? That's just kind of one of the bummers in sports where he was really producing at a high level and he just wasn't able to get that payday.
I think he's doing it. I mean, maybe, the athlete thinks he's a top 5 quarterback. He's not. Let's be straight here. But I also think it's kind of spite because Jerry should have given him a contract 2 years ago, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, and then he got hurt. Like, I think it's kind of spite too, right? Like, anyways. That's my take on that. It's very, man, all the quarterback. Talk about the quarterback wheel, man. It's just crazy. Like, we got so many quarterbacks to play. It's going to be crazy.
We're going to stay up to date. We'll be staying up to date with all the quarterback talk. So if you guys are interested in that, just keep following the podcast. We got Twitter and Instagram, and we're pretty active on there for the most part. Letting you guys know on future podcasts.
We're gonna be talking about the quarterbacks a lot. It's a lot of news every week. Okay, so you want to talk about basketball?
Yeah, so we can just quickly go over. Do you want to talk matchups, or would you like to talk, the current state of teams in the NBA West Pacific?
The Pacific. Why don't we go over the division first, and then we can go over
some games.
We could go over matchups.
All right, for sure.
Yeah. We'll do the games last,
Okay, man. All right. Well, then let's get into the state of the Warriors. Yeah.
So, did you watch the Warriors get their butts beat the other night by the Lakers?
I was in and out of that. I was
brutal.
doing some homework, but I was keeping up with it. That was brutal for sure. They just had a terrible night.
I kind of had it on in the background, after I watched the first half, and then I was like, oh, I'll just leave it on, I was writing a paper. I'm like, I'll just have it on in the background, and I heard Bob Fitzgerald. I like Helena and Bob Fitzgerald, but they're kind of annoying at times.
They don't have any chemistry.
Like they were just like talking like, look, no, none, zero, 100%, man. I felt like what made Bob Fitzgerald great was, what's his name? The legend.
Barnett?
Barnett, man. Barnett was the great one.
My mom and dad were in the city.
Go ahead.
And they were at this party, and Jim Barnett was on the dance floor, and, there wasn't, weird at all, but, my mom was dancing, not, with Jim Barnett, but, kind of, just across, jokingly in, an old person kind of, dance party.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but anyways, back to that. Yeah, they were great together.
But I feel like the more I see, and no offense to Bob Fitzgerald, he's good, but, Jim Barnett had that spark, man.
He really brought it together.
He's not... I feel like Jim Barnett, when I listen to Bob Fitzgerald now, Bob Fitzgerald's not a lead, He's the secondary guy. You know,
He's the guy that talks over the excitement, but he doesn't really do a good job of it. He tells you what's going on as it's going on. But Jim Barnett's better at
he tells you stats and stuff. I'm not trying to say that many people could do Bob Fitzgerald's job, but many people could do Bob Fitzgerald's job. He brings out the stats and he watches the team every night. And Barnett had that, he played with the legends, right? He played with Kareem and
he gives you really good insight. He gives you really good insight on the game.
Yes. Yeah, and I know they tried switching. They brought in Kalena because Kalena played, but Kalena wasn't some legend,
he was just kind of a Warriors figure. He was a Warriors figure for a short period of time who hung around.
He was, in the words of Shaq, he was one of the others. He was one of the others.
Well, he wasn't even on that We Believe team. He was on the season after when they missed the playoffs. They were still exciting, but they didn't make the playoffs.
I thought he was on the We Believe team.
He might have been very little play time.
He didn't play. No, he didn't play at all, but he was on the We Believe team.
Okay, well then he didn't come into prominence until the next season, and they didn't make the playoffs, and the magic wasn't really there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I'm very curious. I know we're talking about the announcers, but I just why doesn't maybe Mullins doesn't want to do it? Why isn't Mullins down there, man? Why isn't Mully down there? Maybe he doesn't want to do it. Yeah,
there's a lot of people that I could think of that could do a better job than Azubuike. No offense.
Yeah, it's even I almost want Bob Fitzgerald to go. Bob Fitzgerald has been killing me, man.
Well, it's almost
He's just not a lead.
You know what it is? It's Bob Fitzgerald was really good with Jim Barnett because he was really good at detailing the hype moments, Baron Davis with the slam. He was good at that.
Yeah,
he was good at that. But now that now he's kind of the head honcho, and it's just awkward. He's he's not the head honcho.
100% because he didn't play basketball, and Kalena is playing a secondary role. And it's just, I don't know. It's just weird. I know we're going deep into the commentating.
You know what it's like?
Chemistry.
You know what it's like? It's
I don't like it.
It's weird. It's like Azubuike, who he played in the NBA, but he was never a star or had a great career. And then Jim Barnett and Bob Fitzgerald, they came up together, and Bob knew his place in that role. But now Bob Fitzgerald's career, if you look at it, he's commentated games with Kevin Durant and all these crazy record-setting seasons. They're just not in the same place in their career. They're not there to they're totally different dynamics. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, and I also I don't know. I like the fact that they're, unlike a lot of announcers in other leagues, they get hyped for this is what I like about Bay Area broadcasting. I don't know about the A's, but the Giants, the Sharks, the Warriors, have you noticed that they get stoked about something the opponent does, too? A lot of other, cities with sports teams, they're oh, wow, he made that three.
Oh, I know. I've listened to
a Jazz game.
I've listened to some other teams. I've listened to other teams' feeds. I listened to a Chicago Bears radio station cover a Tampa Bay Bears game, and it was night and day, when one team had the ball versus the other. It was so obvious, and it was so annoying.
I gotta give the Bay Area broadcasters that. I know I'm going off on a tangent right now.
They keep it exciting the whole time.
They give credit to the opponent doing well, and I like that. I don't want you sulking. I don't want them to do well. They're the opposing team. We want our team to win. But when you're oh wow, he made a three, just such a dork. They're oh, they're so salty. It's kind of hard to listen to.
Atlanta's announcers, I've heard, done that too. I think it's just a lot of the different teams around the league, really.
A lot of them. And it might also be the most of them I've heard, it's the small market teams.
Yeah.
That's their team, I've heard the Jazz, the Timberwolves, The Timberwolves weren't terrible. The Dallas announcers were all right. The Rockets announcers were all right. It's like the small market teams, you know. It's like you're their team or die, you know.
Hey, so let's get into some more Warriors talk. I know they got blown out the other day.
Yeah,
We can talk about how Oubre has been playing. I know you got a lot to say on that.
yeah. So okay, you take away. So the last game. One thing I'd like to say about the last game, it is like that. I mean, everyone's been saying it. It's that tape that you just watch, you know, a couple plays and you throw it away. You just forget about it. They, I felt like they were just after finally getting that third win. It was their first 3-win streak of the season. I just felt they came out flat and they were just missing a bunch of shots. So I'd throw that away. I think that they're a lot better than that, and the media tore them apart. But so to talk about Kelly Oubre, he's a huge reason as to why they were able to finally get the 3 wins in a row. Like he's seeing the court so much better. You remember like a couple weeks ago, Draymond and Steph, like he got hit in the face with a couple passes because he just wasn't ready for the pass. It's like the offense was moving too fast for him. But man, the last like 2 weeks, he's been crazy. Like he's not overshooting the three. He's taking the drive. You know, he's not jacking up threes. His 3-point percentage has gone up, by the way. I think it's 36 now, like on the season, which is great. And he's been getting some dimes lately. Like he sees the offense a lot better. Like I think he was averaging 3 or 4 assists a game over the Warriors' last 7 or 8. It was very impressive to me.
Yeah, and his field goal percentage was way up from when he
Well,
started.
because he's just getting dunks, man. He's getting backdoor dunks. I love it. He knows his role now. You know, like he made the wide open spot up 3 where he doesn't dribble into it, hits that, and then he's cutting. He's not stagnant. You know, like Draymond said, like man, he's like he was in an interview. He's like, I just told Kelly, man, just cut. I'll get you, bro. You'll get that dunk. And man, Kelly's had like 40 dunks in the last 2 weeks. Like it's like crazy. Like cutting dunks. Now I'm not talking about wide open, you know, steal, dribble, coast to coast, but it's been backdoor slipping. Oh man, he's been playing great. I love it.
No, yeah, completely. Kelly Oubre has been a big,
And then Draymond's
big role.
been insane.
Yeah, Draymond's been.
Yeah, Draymond. You know, Draymond's leading. He leads the league in assists.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. He had like a 19 assist game the other day against the Hornets.
I know, but he's been doing this for like the last like week and a half. Like
Yeah, I know, but like
he's
just
been averaging 13
just
or
that
14.
one game is enough to like that. He did 2 games in one game right there, and then on top of that, he's averaging like 12 or 13 before that.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Him doing like it shows when Draymond's in shape. This is the best shape I've seen him. We were talking about it. This is the best shape I've seen him in, like physically, like endurance wise, since 2016 or 2017. He really took it to heart when people were giving him crap that they said he was broke and he was done last year. You know, when he was out of shape and he was the only one on the court. And it's just you could see that he put in the work. He definitely like was like heavy into his nutrition. Like he looks a lot lighter. You know, he really took it seriously the offseason.
Yeah, you gotta love it too, and I hope he can keep up that high level of performance, especially after his recent ankle tweak.
Yeah, it looked minor. He should be all right. And then to go over Steph. Steph's been in a little bit of a slump, you know, shooting the 3-wise. But man, Steph is physically, he's in the best shape I've ever seen him in. Like he's definitely heavier. Like he's gained more muscle, and he can really go in to the paint when he's not shooting well, and really take some abuse down there, and actually deal some abuse down there when he drives. I'm really impressed with. I think it's the best he's ever, like driving wise, he's ever been in his life. Like he's He's just an all-around
You
beast.
see him. You see him go for these contested layups, and like he just like looks so much stronger on offense and even on defense.
I was literally just about to say that too. Great point. He's the added muscle, which he definitely has. It's got to be between 8 and 12 pounds, like a good amount of muscle. He could stay like when someone pushes or something, like he's there. He's a rock. He doesn't like guys like unless he steps. He has a couple plays a game where he just misses the guy. But if he's one-on-one guarding someone, like he's not like this small little twig that's pushed around like he used to be.
He's really cutting the gap with his physical weaknesses, and yeah, you love to see that.
Yeah, I think he's at the perfect weight. I think any heavier he would get slow. I think this is the best weight for him. I think he's still like very, very, very quick. He hasn't when you gain too much muscle, you lose speed. He has not done that. He's like in the sweet spot.
Oh,
it's like this
completely.
is the perfect amount of like muscle. Yeah. So.
Yeah, he's just ripped.
But Steph shot will come back. Yeah.
He's just ripped, man.
Yeah, I do think they're the one. Okay, and then I guess we'll jump to. I'll jump to Wiseman. I don't think we can expect too much from him because he missed 11 games, right? What is that? What have they played? Like, he's missed a third of the season, right? Or a fourth of the season, right? Like,
yeah.
I do hope that he doesn't have brick hands, You noticed he gets these passes. Like, he was getting mad at Wanamaker. Was it last game or the game before? For throwing this pass too low instead of throwing a lob. But Wiseman still should have grabbed it, and it bounced off his hand. It's like, I don't know if the game's moving too fast. He was playing better right before he got hurt. I just worry about his hands, I hope he can get those passes because, Steph's going to throw him behind the back, or Draymond's going to fire it in there. He's got to have hands.
I think it's just going to take a year for him to adjust and hopefully catch up to speed. Big game change, and when you're missing time, like even just 2 games, 3 games missing, it's gonna affect your mojo. And him missing that many games, I would attribute a lot to that.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's amplified like 3 times because what? Because he's a rookie, right? And then on top of that, it's COVID. They didn't have any workouts.
And on top of that, he barely played with Memphis.
Exactly. So it's like for anyone to miss games out of all of them, he was the worst person. Like any of the rookies, he's the least. He
is raw. He's a very raw talent.
Very raw, very raw. But yeah, I think he's got a huge upside. I don't think he's gonna be a bust. I don't think he's gonna end up being a Willie Cauley-Stein. I don't think Willie Cauley-Stein got picked 5th or 6th by the Sacramento, but
Professor Trill, you mean?
Yeah.
He calls himself.
But you do look at Wiseman. That's hilarious. I didn't know that. But you do look at Wiseman, man. He's you take out Joel Embiid and Porzingis. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
Like there aren't many centers that are. He's definitely 7'2". Like, he's not 7 feet. He's definitely, like, 7'1" or 7'2". Like, a lot of centers nowadays are 6'10" or 6'11", right? Like, Jokic and, Cantor's not 7 feet, A lot of guys aren't 7 feet because they have to do other stuff now. But Wiseman's big. He's really tall. Like,
oh, yeah.
When I see him out there, like, Drummond's 6'11", like, Embiid's freaking huge. Embiid is that tall, but, like, you see, he's got that size. It's very, like DeAndre Ayton, 6'11". DeAndre Ayton's really good, but, man, if Wiseman fills out and he could be a beast. He's, like, Embiid size.
He could be a big guy.
Like, not weight, right? But, because Embiid's, like, 270, but, like, he's got that body frame where
he's very young, and he's got some years. I think by the time he's like 22, we'll have a better idea of like where his career could traject.
Yeah. I like how he shoots the 3. The only thing I'm worried about is his free throws, which, free throws correlate with shooting, right? So his free throws haven't been great, right? I think he's in the 60s right now.
So you're saying if you're a good shooter, you're usually a decent free throw shooter?
Yeah, that's
just basic logic, right?
In basketball, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know that a lot of scouts have talked about free throw percentage correlates with 3-point percentage, for sure. But yeah, I just think Wiseman has some games. He'll be good. He missed 11 games. Yeah.
Had my door open. Sorry about that.
I guess Brady had his door open. So
Sorry about that.
So that's about it with Wiseman.
My neighbors were walking down the hall.
Oh shit. That's hilarious. I do think that Wiseman and Looney missing time. I don't like what I've seen from the backup squad. I don't like the bench squad, how they've been playing the last few games. But I think Wiseman and Looney missing a bunch of games messed up the entire rotation. So I think in a couple weeks they'll get back to. I expected a lot from them. I think they could get up to the 5th or 6th seed, to be honest.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You know, I think the two LA teams and the Jazz are for sure going to be 1, 2, and 3 in some order, and then I'll give the Suns 4. I think the Warriors can get the 5 seed. I think they're better than the Spurs. I don't like what I've seen from the Nuggets. I think they could beat Portland. I really do. I'm stoked. By the way, I'm stoked for the Portland game tomorrow.
Yeah, we can get into. Why don't we get into some matchups really quick, and then we'll call it a podcast.
Yeah. Sorry for rambling about all of that. Let's.
No,
you're
good, man. We haven't talked in a while.
Yeah.
So right now the Clippers and Celtics are playing. I checked Twitter and they did a late scratch. So right now it's about to be halftime. Or 9 minutes to go, actually, so not close yet. But 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. It's 41-47 Celtics. Late scratch was Kawhi Leonard with some back spasms. You know how he is when he...
Oh, well then... Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say the Celtics will probably win that. I don't know if Jaylen Brown's out or not. Jaylen Brown is playing, so the Celtics are at full health here with Kemba Walker. I would expect them to win that, especially with the Clippers being without their guy.
Yeah, Paul George hasn't been playing well the last couple games. He missed a big shot to send it to overtime the other night, and people were roasting him. You know, playoff P roasts were all over him.
Was that against the Bucks?
Yeah.
The other matchup I wanted to get into, and then we'll talk Warriors, Trailblazers. The Suns.
It was such a bad.
Wait, what was that?
He missed the rim.
Oh,
he completely missed the rim.
Air ball?
And it hit the side. Yeah, it was bad. It was very bad. Yeah. But, I think if Paul George was the one missing, I would say that Kawhi and the squad could get that win. But I think if Kawhi's out, I don't think they're going to beat the Celtics. I still think that Paul George and Kawhi are a weird combo. Yeah. I still don't like their combo.
Something about it just doesn't really.
It's not right. There's something wrong there.
It just doesn't mesh, you know. It's not one of those one of those matches where it's like it's made in heaven and it's like this is perfect. It's one of those things where it's like
it's it's like there's two issues. Paul George is inconsistent as hell, and then Kawhi needs rest days and he gets hurt. So those two combinations, it messes with their flow, and I think there's no leader on that team still.
Yeah.
But we're not going to go into that.
So Suns play Lakers tonight at 7:00. That's a pretty big matchup.
That'll be a really good game. Where is it?
Let me switch around here. It's in LA. I believe the spread is pretty close.
I'm going to take the Suns.
Taking the Suns?
I love how the Suns have been playing. What? Yeah.
Taking the Suns?
What's the spread?
I think it's like a
What's
1
the
or
spread?
2 point spread. I think the Lakers are maybe favored.
I'll just take the Suns then. I'll take the Suns.
Here, let me get that. I know it's maybe had a little bit of movement. I think it's all right. LA is favored by 1.5.
Okay, then yeah, I'm gonna take the Suns. Yeah,
Definitely good value there.
I love how they've been. What is it? What if I pick the Suns?
I think.
What's the value?
I mean, I think it's good value on. I could see it being good on both ends. I think it's going to be a good game. The Lakers played pretty well against us, so you got to take that into consideration.
That means nothing to me though, because the Warriors came out and played so terrible.
Well, then
Like that gives me no like reading on LA. That game, the Warriors shot so bad. Like I don't take that game at all.
Man,
Especially
you're making me want to make a parlay right now. I might just have to go on.
Yeah,
the
no,
Suns.
I would take the Suns. You know why? They just beat the crap. So I think there was a lot of like energy, like not to get too into vibes, man, but I think that LeBron was out for blood in that game because the Warriors came back and beat them. You know, they had a 19-point lead or whatever, right?
Definitely.
And I think a lot of energy. He used a lot of energy, even though he didn't play that much. There was a lot of emotion. And the Suns have been hot. And I think without Anthony Davis, I think the Suns can easily beat him. And I think the Suns are up and coming. I like the Suns. I really do. The more I talk about it.
The guy likes the Suns in that matchup, and I can't blame him.
If Anthony Davis was playing, I would say the Lakers, obviously. But I think
the Lakers
Suns
can beat any team with AD, right? They're champions.
Yeah. And I think that, man, I mean, not the last game, but I think, man, LeBron playing, 36 or 37 minutes a game, it's going to start adding up. Like, I think he's just going for the MVP. I don't think he even cares really about the ring this year. I think he wants that one MVP as a Laker, and I think he's really pushing it. And the Suns are deep as hell. They got 12 dudes, you know. I love the Suns. Not 12, 9 or 10, but still. I would take the Suns.
How do you feel about the I know we don't talk a lot about the Nuggets, but they play the Bucks tonight in Milwaukee. The Bucks are going to have Drew Holiday. Nuggets have been kind of limping around.
The Nuggets have been so like meh, right?
Yeah,
like,
they can beat the crappy teams, but aside from that, they've kind of had trouble.
I would take the Bucks. I'm pretty confident in the Bucks, and it's in Milwaukee.
Yeah, the Bucks are at a minus 8 point spread there.
I would take the Nuggets to cover that.
Yeah,
I don't think the Nuggets are going to lose by more eight points. Yeah, I think the Nuggets will cover that. Yeah,
I think definitely. I might go. I think I'll join you in on the Suns, but I think I would take Bucks minus 8. And I know 8's a lot.
You're gonna to cover.
Yeah,
you're gonna have them cover minus 8. Okay,
yep.
I'll take the Nuggets. Okay, you know what? We have to keep track of this, right? Because we always forget. So, Suns, straight up, right?
Yeah.
And then you're taking the Bucks minus 8, and I'm taking the Nuggets plus 8, right?
Yeah.
All right. What else?
And then tomorrow. So the last matchup is tomorrow. That we're gonna go over. And that's the Warriors against the Trailblazers. Last time they met, Steph Curry went off.
Well, we're biased, though. What is it?
I don't think there's a spread out. I don't think there's a spread out. But it says Draymond Green's going to play, so I think I might lean Warriors.
I mean, you could just look back to when Draymond was in this Draymond shape. And Draymond... You remember when they came back last time, it was right before Draymond got into shape, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was before Draymond was back. But you look back at, when KD was out, and Draymond was pushing the ball like he is now, and they freaking sweat Portland, right? When Draymond and Clay didn't even do much damage, right, in that series. There was Steph and Draymond.
Dude, Draymond was unreal.
Yeah, so I would take I would take the Warriors. I mean, we're both biased, but
Sometimes,
we're both saying the Dubs.
yeah, definitely.
I would have the Dubs. I would have the Dubs cover 4 points. Actually, to be honest,
You
I
would.
would take the Dubs -4. Yeah, but it's gonna be Portland -1 or 2. You know, that's what I think.
Yeah.
If Draymond plays, so I guess we'll
in
just
Portland.
take Dubs money line, right?
Yeah, we're gonna take the value there. I could see the Warriors being favored, but we'll see. It's gonna be a close spread for sure.
Nah, it's in Portland. I think it's gonna be Portland 1 or 2
I know,
points.
but the Warriors are by far the better team. I think the Warriors could be -2 point favorites.
Portland's 5th in the conference right now.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
No,
I mean,
I'm telling you.
Warriors
how
are getting
Vegas-
some rest. They're playing good basketball. I know they just had a.
I personally agree with you. I think the Warriors are better.
All right. Well,
I'm
hey,
just
if Vegas is taking the night off and they're falling asleep on the Warriors, then hey, maybe we gotta go in on that.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I just think I don't think especially the way the matchup went last time. I just wouldn't count Vegas out to look into that. The Warriors own Portland.
Yeah.
The Warriors have always owned Portland.
Truth.
Dame goes off in
one-
Oakland, but
Yeah. One thing I gotta add, just on the Warriors, I am getting more and more worried that they're not going to get the Timberwolves pick, because the Timberwolves are in dead last in the entire league.
I think Timberwolves are all in on that pick.
I think they're trying to get the first pick so hard. They're 7-28. The next closest team is Detroit, who's 9-25.
And I wouldn't put it past the owner, the Minnesota Timberwolves owner. The guy had a lot of beef with Kevin Garnett. I know who hasn't, but if it's still the same owner, I recently learned that the guy's a total scumbag.
Really?
Yeah, it's still the same guy. His name's Glenn Taylor, and he straight up doesn't. The reason why Kevin Garnett never really did anything on that team, and they never went anywhere, because he was like a top talent. I think he might have won an MVP. Was because he never put a team around him.
Yeah, he did.
He never put a team around KG, and fast forward to now, he doesn't care about winning. Like he's the kind of owner that would tank for the pick, like 100%. The guy's a scumbag.
I mean, he's a scumbag.
You got to look into
That's
the guy.
some strong words.
You got to look into the guy.
I think I do. I don't know anything about him. If he's the same owner with the KG stuff,
No,
that
he
was
is.
bad,
He is.
Okay, I do know about the KG stuff. That was bad, but I do think if I was in the Timberwolves spot, like, would you risk losing the number 4 overall pick? like they're playing with fire here. Like, I mean, Houston and Sacramento. Houston's 4 games. They're 4 games ahead. Detroit's 2, Orlando's 6. And
No,
Sacramento's
there's
6.
definitely they got an order, and I'm sure the owner's. I mean, he's an ass, but he's not stupid, and I'm sure he knows the talent pool in this draft.
Yeah,
I
think it's.
I think it'd be foolish. It'd be foolish to think as a Warriors fan that the Timberwolves aren't tanking right now.
No, they're tanking. They're totally tanking.
They're totally tanking.
It's just funny to me if they end up winning, like if they go on a little hot streak in the second half and they're the 4th team on there. And I just think how the balls roll, I just think they'll get screwed. And I think the Warriors will get the pick.
That would be something.
But if they're dead last, like, the odds of them not getting in the top 3 are just insane. So it's.
I just don't think the owner's taking chances.
No. It would be funny. That would be something that would happen to the Timberwolves, though. Like, the unluckiness. Like, that would be.
Yeah, that would be totally. That'd be great, honestly. I would love to see that, because I don't think that the NBA should reward tanking.
Yeah. They did limit they what was it, a year or two ago? They put in less balls.
Yeah,
for
thanks to the
top three
Sixers,
picks,
right?
Yeah, because the Sixers, man, yeah. But so it's possible. But anyways, we went on a tangent. I just think it's interesting. It's something to monitor.
Yeah.
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 So the Lakers play the Suns tonight. Warriors, Trailblazers. We already got our picks in there. We're gonna keep up with the NFL and all this crazy quarterback carousel that's going on. And then obviously baseball is coming in soon. We haven't really done any
Spring training started, right?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
We're gonna definitely get into baseball once the season starts. We're not gonna do too much talking on that. And then if we ever
unless there's trades, trades. Unless there's a trade or something.
If we do hockey, it'll be with Dave and Ethan. We have yet to get that going, but we will.
Yeah, we're just getting back up and running again after a little break, but we're probably going to have them do a lot of the hockey talk, so you guys will know like what days to tune in for just hockey,
Definitely.
So it's a great show. It's good to be back.
It is good to be back.
Good times.
I think I'm going to end it on that note. You cool with that?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Appreciate the views, people. Thank you. This was a good talk, man. Good times.
Some guy named Raleigh Darcy, like Raleigh, like North Carolina Raleigh, like with the GH.
Raleigh.
You know what I'm saying?
Raleigh, North
Raleigh. Darcy.
Yes, Raleigh.
Yeah,
Raleigh?
like a
That's
sleigh. Like.
I mean, it's Raleigh. Yeah.
Raleigh Darcy said, "Got locks." I guess they're asking for picks, and I didn't answer that question. I don't know who Raleigh Darcy is, but shout outs to you. I said "ye boy," but that's about it for comments.
Picks like for basketball?
I guess got locks. Yeah, that's funny.
Okay, yeah. So those are the locks.
We got our locks. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks.